We do have a special guest today, the Harris family, Bob and Carla, and their two children, Ryan and Alyssa. Alyssa. Excuse me, I knew I was going to mess that up, and I did. I apologize. But Rob's going to come up here and tell us a little bit about contact missions.
All right. Ready? All right, that's the clicker. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for having us. We were here a couple years ago, and it just felt like a homecoming coming back here. We were greeted so warmly by so many of you this morning, and really enjoyed just being here so far today. And I'm hoping that it's that you can come to grips with what I have to say today about Europe and some of those kind of things. And it's a good time for all of us. Really enjoyed spending the night with the Warrens, Roger and Cleona, and they're a real blessing to us as a family. What a wonderful way we've been welcomed so far. I want to thank you also from the bottom of my heart for your tremendous support of us as a family and of Contact Mission. We are forever grateful for those who are faithful in their support to us, and it makes all the difference in the world. We are a faith mission. We're a family that's always been in missions for the last about 20 years now, and it is an amazing thing how the body of Christ comes together to work in missions. And I want to thank you really deeply and truly for your support of us, our family, and of Contact Mission. I serve as the U.S. Director for Contact Mission. And Contact Mission is a European mission organization. I'll talk some more about that. Kind of an international organization based in Germany and also in the States, also in Switzerland, and we have works in many places around the world. I'm the U.S. Director, and we have a large number of missionaries, about 188 missionaries, depends on how you count, usually something like that, 188 missionaries in currently 23 countries and counting. And from the United States side, we have about 45 projects for missionaries or different projects that we're involved in. And so when you are supporting us, you are participating in keeping those things going. And we really appreciate that. I want to apologize right now, just while I'm thinking about it, for my voice. This last weekend, I was in Germany. As a matter of fact, up until Tuesday, I was in Germany. And we had a training event for youth that was quite an event. And I had to translate, do a lot of translating from German into English and back and forth. And I also did a lot of teaching. And so by the end of Saturday night, I had no voice. And it just started coming back about Thursday. I talked to Mike on the phone on Thursday. I had a voice like this. And now it's starting to come back a little bit better. I'm not asleep. I promise you, I'm awake. It just sounds like I'm asleep. Carla is also important to mention, and maybe this is clear. I'm not sure if it was in the past, but Carla serves an important role with Contact Mission as well. Carla is the business manager for the U.S. side of Contact Mission. And all these 45 projects and all the different things that come through, as well as some other projects that just come through our office, she's involved in that. So she works full-time for Contact Mission as well. And we're running and gunning quite a bit. We're keeping pretty busy, trying anyway. Our team in the United States consists of the two of us in Tennessee, and we have another couple that works for us in Atlanta area, and another man that works in our internships in the Omaha area. So we're kind of spread out around the United States, and of course we have missionaries and these projects, mostly in Europe. I'm going to share this morning a little bit about Contact Mission. You see the logo up there, and this is kind of our motto, Churches for a Generation Without Christ. And at the end, I'm going to kind of roll over into a little short mini sermon. So you'll have to try and figure out when the presentation stops and when the sermon begins. You'll be able to tell, I think. But I want to go ahead and kind of move on here. Like I said, Contact Mission is a European mission organization. It is designed primarily, the whole goal of Contact Mission is to plant churches, because we believe that church planting is the best way of evangelism. Church planting is absolutely the best way to make new Christians, because we don't want to just make people who kind of believe up here, do we? Kind of, oh yeah, I believe. But we want to make people who are disciples. We want to make people who are Christ followers. And the best way to do that is through planting churches. So that's what Contact Mission does. We work in this continent of Europe primarily. We also have some missionaries elsewhere, but almost all of our missionaries are in kind of where that part of the world you see right there, starting from Portugal all the way over to Russia. And it's interesting, we work with a lot of different people groups. When you think of Europeans, you probably think of Germans and French and Spanish, right? Portuguese. But we work with all the different little groups there too. There's a lot of different kinds of groups of people in Europe. For instance, in Germany, there's this group of people, it's a huge group of people in Germany called Russian Germans. These are people whose parents and grandparents moved over to Russia, and Catherine the Great invited them over to help plant their fields. Well, they started coming back in droves. And so there's a lot of those people throughout Germany right now. And we work among doing church planting among those people. There's also, in Germany, this is still in Germany, there's a woman that we have on our staff, and she is an Iranian Kurd. So she looks Iranian, and she's Kurdish, and she speaks Persian, and she speaks Kurdish language, and she works doing evangelism among Kurdish women in Berlin, Germany. Crazy stuff, right? There's all kinds of different people groups. We have Tamil. You've heard of Tamils before from India, Sri Lanka. That people group. There's a lot of those people in Germany. This is just in Germany, and it spreads out from there. All kinds of different people groups, all living within in the confines of what we would call Europe, but not necessarily just European people groups. Okay, so that's who we work with. I'm hoping that that'll become a little bit clear. We'll kind of talk about some of this, but Europe, trying to talk about Europe all at once is a little complicated because of all these many different hundreds of people groups that are living there. The people of another continent can seem very far away, can't they? When you think of a European, I'm not sure what you think of. It's all kind of foggy like that. You know, it's not very clear what is a European. And it really stays that way until you start kind of focusing in on one particular people group. So we got this cool picture here, and it switches to that picture, and you can actually see the faces. This is a picture that was taken in Stuttgart, Germany. And these people are they're out shopping on a Saturday. It's just a normal day in their life. You can see they look kind of like most North Americans. There's not a whole lot of people of color in this picture, I've noticed. It's mostly just white folks, Germans. And this is a people group that we work among, Contact Mission works among. And you have to understand each individual people group and understand what they are like, what they respond to, what they don't respond to, in order to make a church that will work in that people group. And when you look at this people group, for example, you're going to see, and this is true for most of Europe, most of Europe is doing pretty well financially. They're doing about as well as the United States is. Some a little bit worse, some a little bit better, but generally speaking, well enough to get by, to have enough to eat anytime they want, to buy things on a Saturday to go shopping, okay? But this question of how people are doing materially isn't the only question, is it? The question is, how are people doing spiritually? And so the question is, what is going on in an individual's life in Europe at any given time? What is going on with their relationship with God, their Creator? These questions are not easy to answer. And I'll tell you what the situation is in most of Europe. In most of Europe, it is not good. What is going on in individuals' lives with their Creator? It is not a spiritual place. It's not a Christian, very Christian place. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as time goes on. But these are the questions that Contact Mission seeks to address through one main means, and that one main means is church planting. Let's see if I can make this work. Here we go. This is a Contact Mission planted church. This is actually in Berlin, Germany, among Germans and Russian Germans who are living there in Berlin. The church is held in two languages, Russian and German, interestingly enough, in Berlin, Germany. When we think about how to address the needs of Europeans, the needs that God sees in Europeans, we think of churches, planting churches. Here's some of our churches. This is in, you know that language? Anybody know what that language is? Anybody have a guess? This is Lithuanian. We have a pretty big team in Lithuania. I just thought that sign was very confusing. What that means, I'll read that sign for you. This is Kauno, is the name. It's like from the city is Kaunas. So it's Kaunas, Laisvuju means free. Christionio, anybody want to guess what that means? Christian. Bajnica is church. So Free Christian Church.